Zachary Levi just did an interview with Bill Maher where he talked about the repercussions, or rather lack thereof, for his vocal support of Donald Trump in the recent election. So at first, he said he supported RFK Jr., and then once he dropped out and endorsed Trump, he ended up endorsing Trump as well. And Bill Maher assumed that this meant he had to be losing work because in Hollywood, you're around a bunch of intense liberals. But as Zachary Levi revealed, it didn't lose him one single job and didn't get him one single talking to from any of his superiors or colleagues at all.
He's got 7 projects in production right now.
He is not struggling whatsoever. No. In fact, he was actually working in Eastern Europe throughout the election cycle, so I don't even know if he did vote for Trump.
Might have voted early.
With that circumstance. But yeah, to Bill Maher's surprise, Zachary Levi did not face any sort of cancellation or job loss or really hardly even any public criticism from people in Hollywood. There have been some exceptions to that, but for the most part, it's been peaceful for him. And that speaks not to like Zachary Levi's credit, really. It's actually just a changing of the times. Yeah, it's just a cultural shift that I think the liberals in Hollywood are genuinely less extreme.
No, I don't know if they're less extreme. I think that they're just maybe burnt out.
That's what I mean, though. They're not as angry, they're not as energetic, and they're not as bold. Also, they don't have the same audacity that they used to have.
Also, the ones that were angry back then were facilitated by the backroom side of the industry. You mean like the financing and the production? That's lawyers. They cannot afford to do that right now. Like post-COVID, post 8 years of bad movie returns on investment and all that stuff. 8 years of that means that they don't have the ability to be as choosy as they were back in 2016.
Right. So here's what he said in this interview. He claims that he has not lost a single job in Hollywood after throwing his support behind President-elect Donald Trump. During his initial endorsement of Trump, he notoriously stated that he was likely to commit career suicide. He said, "When I came out and I said I was endorsing Trump through my endorsement of Tulsi Gabbard and Bobby Kennedy,
there is a weird Tulsi Gabbard derangement syndrome."
Really?
Yes.
I haven't noticed that. Is it just because she was nominated for a cabinet position?
Maybe because she was a Democrat first or something like that. But I've noticed like a weird sense of like the fact that they're starting to push like Russian agent onto her now. And that's going through these people is...
Well, they're hoping that it would prevent her from getting confirmed in a cabinet position. But he continued, "Within my industry, as you can probably imagine, Hollywood is a very, very liberal town, and this very well could constitute career suicide. So I'm glad that I did it with you guys." And then Bill Maher said he lost jobs. He was like, "No, that did not happen. For coming out and voting for Trump, listen, I have yet to see what the ultimate effects of all that are going to be. I already had multiple jobs that I was in the process of shooting or have yet to shoot. None of those have been compromised. None of my producers or any of the studios behind those films or projects have called and said, hey, this is a line too far. We can't have you associated with the project anymore. We're all still full steam ahead on those. How it ultimately plays out in the future, I don't know. The 4 years of his presidency were significantly better than the 4 years of Biden-Harris." And he continues later in the interview talking about how our border was more secure, our economy was more secure, crime rates were down. When you have almost every network television show other than Fox News, when all the rest are saying Hitler and all of his supporters are Nazis and Madison Square Garden is a Nazi rally and all of these things, of course you're going to spin all of these people watching that into a tizzy of fear. But here it also mentions one of his former colleagues saying some nasty things about him in the media.
What was her name?
Laura Benanti.
She worked on Broadway with him, right?
Right. They worked on the Broadway revival of She Loves Me back in 2016.
To which everybody was like, who is that?
I had never heard of this woman
Everyone
before.
in the comments is like, who the hell are you?
Yeah. But here in a recent podcast interview, his former colleague said, I never liked him. Everyone was like, he's so great. And I was like, no, he's not. He's sucking up all the effing energy in this room. He wants to mansplain everybody's part to them. He really sucked everybody in with his dance party energy. Like, we're doing a dance party at half hour. I was like, good luck. Have fun.
Okay, see what's sad about this?
You sound miserable.
Here's the thing. Outside of, like, if you strip the political context of this, which is what we know it is because of the timing, it's actually kind of funny to imagine like a bit where she's like, no, fuck that guy. He was freaking annoying. Like that actually would be a kind of funny burn, but because it's tied to political affiliation via the timing, that just strips all the fun out of it. It's not fun anymore.
Like maybe you never found him annoying until you retroactively decided.
I want to hear more actors who actually agree on politics, who just don't like each other because they just don't like each other. That's actually fun.
Stories like the way that Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams were at each other's throats while filming The Notebook. That's the juicy stuff that I love. It's not political. It's just straight, like good old fashioned Hollywood celebrity drama.
It's like anybody can hate somebody.
Egos clashing with egos. Like that's what I like.
Anybody can hate somebody because they're a fascist. I just hate you because you're freaking awful.
I mean, she's literally saying he's annoying because he always wanted to have fun. Like he had dance party energy. That was the reason she was mad at him. Yeah. So she just sounded like a miserable old crone. Yeah. And as Justine Bateman pointed out, I've heard of Zachary Levi. However, I have never heard of Laura Benanti. The era of attacking past co-stars as a means to impress the judges at the Victim Olympics is over. It does not result in more work. In fact, it simply telegraphs one's capacity to torpedo projects, past, present, and future. I don't know one film series or play producer who wants that anywhere near their projects.
I can't imagine that. I can't imagine why it was ever so beneficial that you hated one politician so much that you would allow speaking out of class about people you worked with in public. Right. I'm still shocked to this day, even outside of a political context, that actors are like, oh yeah, I worked with that guy. He was awful. Like, for all you know, like, at least this is my feeling on this. Like, okay, so you don't like that guy. Fine. And what are the chances you're ever going to work with that guy again? Right. But what if that guy works with the producer and they're really good friends, and then that guy hears you say that? Certainly you might be really good at your job, so people will look past it. Right. Really good actors are going to get work no matter what. But plenty of people who don't have the resume or the credentials or the talent to just speak on business like that certainly did it as if they did.
Yeah. But if you think about it, most of the time, the people you would think have a track record behind them that would give them the liberty to say whatever they want, they usually don't, because they have something called class and discretion. And oversharing like that for the sake of stirring up drama, it's not honesty. Yeah. It's not humor. It's just indiscretion. And to make it even more rich, this is on a podcast called That's a Gay Ass Podcast. So I think we know where they were coming from, like what their bias might have been already.
Well, Zachary,
but it's always like you find out that somebody disagreed with you politically, and then you say, "Oh, I never liked him." We don't believe you. She probably had an unrequited crush on Zachary Levi back when they were working with each other. Yeah, I bet there were some feelings that were not returned, and now she's like, "I never liked him. He was always such a jerk. He mansplained to people."
Also, if there are any women watching, mansplaining is short for man explaining.
Well, it does actually have a specific definition. It means a man is explaining something to you that you already know, and he already kind of knows that you know.
They said
so he's doing it like just to kind of to belittle you.
They said that I was mansplaining about Spider-Man.
I said you were mansplaining as a joke.
Yes.
I never actually felt like you were condescending to me.
They said it in the chat. Well, they said it in the chat that I was mansplaining.
Before I did?
I think before you did.
That's crazy.
That I was mansplaining about Spider-Man in Sony and Marvel. So one day, guys, Mary will be on the That's So Gay podcast, or That's a Gay Ass podcast, and she'll be telling them about how
Brett Daswick,
one day
never liked that guy.
We were on a show. We were doing the show as usual, and he just started telling me stuff about Spider-Man that he knew that I knew that he knew that I knew. And he was mansplaining, and it was bullshit.
The catch is, I didn't know.
Okay.
I really didn't know.
Zachary Levi is not losing any work. I'm sure that he's going to be just fine. We are in, however politicized the environment is right now, it does feel like there has been a corner that has been turned in a lot of ways. And people are just working, mind your business. I was glad that he was able to continue getting work. I was a bit surprised. I knew that he would endorse RFK, but I also had my own critique of him. Like, he had movies coming out, and he's like posting about RFK on Instagram. I'm like, what about them? Like, it was like when Harold and the Purple Crayon was coming out, which, by the way, bombed big time. And I'm like, maybe if you were promoting the movie rather than talking about RFK, the movie would have done better. But
it's like, yeah, so I'm in this new movie called Harold and the Purple Vaccine.
Anyways.
I mean, the Purple Crayon.
Exactly.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.